So welcome back. Last time we mentioned we're going to talk about assumptions. Not an easy thing to do since we've forgotten what they are. So how can we get into it? Well, there are people who believe in ghosts, there are people who don't believe in ghosts. The evidence for it is anecdotal and so on and so forth. And we don't really think of that as being part of our normal lives. Yet, we therefore think that everything else that we believe is based on solid ground. There's evidence for everything, and we don't believe in anything that can't be proved one way or another. Well, there's a problem there, because we've been told that by the very science that doesn't question its own assumptions. The idea is that, well, if we've got evidence for things, we don't need to assume anything. We've got evidence. But is that true? Now, this isn't a case of thinking about something very abstract, something far away from ourselves. You take this simple example. I take something and I let it go and it drops. No surprise there. Look, I'll do it again. It didn't go anywhere else, it came straight down. I've done it time and time again. Why does that happen? It's because of the force of gravity, we're told. But what does that mean, the force of gravity? Think about it. We've been taught this from the year dot. We all believe in it because we experience it. But what does the phrase force of gravity mean? And let's look at it from another point of view. At the moment, or at least for the last 10 years at least, there have been machines operating looking for the force of gravity, or the field of gravity. We'll just call it words for the moment. Well, if they're doing it now, does that mean that we still don't have any evidence for it? What is the whole basis for our belief in gravity? And when you look at it more carefully, you find that actually it's an assumption. And that assumption is the very beginnings of science as we know it today. And it's still in place. And it's still unquestioned. So we all believe in this very simple thing. So it's a kind of ghost story in a way, because we don't have the evidence. So how are we going to look at this? And you might say, what has it got to do with the rest of my life? Well, there may be surprises in store on that front, but that's a long way yet. But gravity is interesting because it's not abstract. We're not talking about economic principles or social order as yet. So, is this linked to all that? After all, let's think about it. What put science on the map? It was Newton and the mathematical models he produced to describe gravity. Generally speaking, everybody saw how successful this was, and they wanted a piece of the action, so they adopted that method of doing things, finding a mathematical model. So what we're looking at when we say gravity did this is we're looking at a model. We're not saying it's real. We're just convinced by the recurrence of the same event, which is hardly a basis for knowledge. Nor does it have any evidence. So what can we say about the first principles of science that are unquestioned? What do they look like? What are they? And we all believe them because we don't question them. So we carry them. Well, there's a mystery. We'll think about that for a while next time. Cheers.